So excited. I can't wait to share a lot of things with you all, my listeners, my supporters, my friends, my family. Thank you to Cousin Mike. Although Christmas is not about us, it's about Jesus. Let me make sure that everyone is clear about that.
We need to get back to the basics, I believe. And if we don't get back to the basics, because the world is moving so fast, we need to slow it down just a little bit.
We're just freestyling, y'all.
Now I have to ask you questions.
Oh, now you want to ask me questions?
I don't have any, but yeah.
Well, how you gonna ask me a question if you don't have any?
I make it up along the way.
Okay, make it up. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's take a minute to inhale and exhale. Red beans and rice or gumbo?
That's tough. I'm gonna go ahead and go with gumbo.
She knew she was loved. She knew that her mother did all that she could to help her, but something just did not click for her that she was worthy. Tori Talks, Season 2, y'all. Hey, y'all. What's up? Tori Talks is back for Season 2. Thank y'all for staying up to date with me and following me on Instagram and on YouTube. I now do video podcasts. So make sure you check that out on YouTube. And make sure you follow me wherever you get your podcasts. I'm on Anchor, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. So make sure you check me out. Follow me. Listen every week. I have some real good content this season, y'all. I can't wait for you to hear it. All right. So you want to do a podcast, right? Well, do like I did and go to anchor.com. Set up your free account on there and let's get it rolling. Hey y'all, what's going on? So I briefly want to talk about rebranding yourself, right? And so we see businesses rebrand their business models or their how they conduct business, but it's also important to rebrand ourselves. It's also important to rebrand, like just changing the narrative of our own lives. And so rebranding, it really just means changing how others view you, right? And so rebranding yourself isn't simply about getting a new haircut or changing the way you dress, although those two things are important. It's about bringing your strongest points to the forefront and using everything that you have already within you to support them. So I just want to go through a short list of ways that we can rebrand ourselves. And this is, to me, I think it's important, especially like if you're changing jobs or careers, or if you're doing something a little different than what people know you to do. Like for me, for example, I've kind of had to rebrand myself when I wanted to do this podcast. And so I have changed a few things, like the way that I think about things, the way that I act in public and personal spaces. So rebranding ourselves is important, not just for day-to-day living, but also if we're planning on changing jobs or careers or doing something different that people are not used to seeing us do. And so first, first we have to determine what our strongest attributes are. And so, with this, we should consider ourselves a package of strengths and skills, because it's very difficult to rebrand yourself if you don't think that that you have the skills and abilities to do whatever you're trying to rebrand yourself into. Um, are you technically proficient in this field? Yes or no? And maybe you're not the best at it, but you have to at least be proficient. I know for me, with doing this podcast, um, I had to call on my cousin Mike, the Art of Letting Go podcast, and he helped me tremendously in terms of like the audio, the apps that I needed, some of the different, like the microphone I use. He's helped me in terms of like thinking about different topics. So, and he has an awesome, awesome podcast. Again, that's the Art of Letting Go podcast. Um, are you a great leader who knows how to make strategic decisions? Or are you an innovator who's always on a cutting edge of developments? And so what we need to do is make a list of our strongest points, not necessarily strong points, but our strongest points, and see if those strongest points that we have, if they correlate with what we're trying to rebrand ourselves into. And if they don't necessarily correlate with what we're trying to rebrand ourselves into, maybe we can do a little bit of research to see what the strong points of whatever we're trying to rebrand ourselves into, and start practicing those different things so that we can be proficient with our new selves, or what we're trying to rebrand ourselves into. Number 2, pinpoint what your unique value proposition is, right? And so this basically just means, that there are literally millions of others who do the same thing. There are millions of others who have the same skills and the same innovative ideas. So we have to pinpoint what makes us so special. Why should people listen to us? Why should people choose us over the next person? And so we have to figure out what is our unique combination of technical skills that few other people have. And maybe nobody else has it. So, yeah, that's basically what that one is. Pinpoint what your unique value proposition is. Number 3, you have to represent your brand. So this is more physical than anything. How you dress, how you speak, how you write, what your social media pages look like. And so in all of these things, you should always represent your brand, whatever message you're trying to get across to the next person. And maybe you haven't, and also in terms of resumes and things like that, maybe you haven't updated it in a while. So, update your resumes, update your social media accounts if you're on social media. Update your business cards, your website graphics, your logo if you have a logo, things like that. Look at your old one and see if it coincides with what you're rebranding yourself into. And if it doesn't, then that you need to update it. Number 4, prove your value. And this goes hand in hand with pinpoint what your unique value proposition is. So you need to be able to prove to others that you are valuable. Prove to others that not only are you valuable, but that you will be valuable to them. um, proving your worth, basically. And so um, you need to, I know some people are not, um, cannot, they have a hard time or difficult time in terms of listing like the good things that they've done. And this may be because they don't like to boast or brag, but it's not boasting or bragging when you're rebranding yourself. Um, and so it's very important that you list these items or high profile projects that you've worked on, um, as well as maybe getting testimonials um, or different feedback from prior supervisors or current supervisors and or clients. Um, Number 5, expand your network to broaden your brand. And this basically means, it's good to know people in different settings. It's good to know people with different backgrounds. It's good to know people, um, like it's good to be able to walk into a room where you can speak to anybody and everybody. Um, and this is really, really important because when you're rebranding yourself, sometimes, not all of the time, but sometimes people who have known you for a long time, or even people who may not have known you for a long time, but they knew you before you decided to rebrand yourself, they have a little bit of difficulty seeing you in a new way. Um, for example, you were always a lawyer, so they can't really see you as a doctor. Um, or you were always a finance person and they can't see you in a nonprofit world. Um, and it's understandable because it is two totally separate um, career choices or different fields, but you are changing. And so, because you are changing, it's good to have a network of people of different backgrounds in order to broaden your brand. And so, although you may have this brand, it does evolve over time. It's different day by day. So you need to use this to your advantage and proactively choose what and how to brand. So you have to be proactive about it. Number 6, define your destination. Rebranding is not easy at all. And that's mainly because we don't want to change. Well, we want to change, but we don't want to put in the work that's necessary to change. And so, rebranding is not easy because it's a very, very unique, very well thought out plan that you have to do in order for your rebranding to be successful. And if you plan it poorly, then you'll end up not only confusing others, but you'll confuse yourself as well because you really don't know um, what goals you're trying to meet in terms of rebranding yourself. So you want to start by determining where you want to invest your energy, right? And so once you determine where you want to invest your energy, then that planning becomes a little bit easier because now you have standards and morals and you know what you want and what you don't want. And so you also need to build the skills, whatever skills are necessary for your new path. And I touched on that a little bit earlier. Learning the skills that you need will give you the confidence to start publicizing your new identity and the credibility required to assume it. Excuse me again. Sorry, y'all. Let me see. Number 7, leverage your points of difference. And again, this goes back to, I think, 2 and 4, which were pinpoint what your unique value proposition is and proving your value. And so, what is your unique selling proposition? That is what people will remember, and you can use it to your advantage. So, you need to, you ever heard of the 15-second elevator pitch? So, you need to really hone in on what's your 15-second elevator pitch. If you were in an elevator with the top businessman or top businesswoman or the CEO of a company that you really want to work with or work for, what would you say in those 15 seconds that you're on the elevator with the individual? And so you, of course, you want to pinpoint the top of the top that you can say about yourself. So, we need to work on those 15-second elevator pitches in terms of selling our unique proposition to the client or to our boss, our new boss that we want. Let me see. I'm sorry, y'all. I have this on 2 separate. Okay. And so next we want to reintroduce ourselves. So now that we have, we know where we want to go, we know what we want to do, we know, we have our 15-second elevator pitches. Now we want to reintroduce ourselves. Number 8, we want to reintroduce ourselves. And so once we have embraced our new brand, and we've made contacts with new individuals, and most likely because these are new individuals that we haven't really been in company with, they will take the new us at face value because they don't really know us, right? And so, and of course, the harder individuals that we will have to reintroduce ourselves to are our friends, the people that we knew prior to rebranding ourselves. And so the truth of the matter is that the vast majority of people, they really aren't paying that much attention to us. So we have to put ourselves out there so that we are recognized and so that other individuals can see us and see our rebranding and see that we no longer are the same that we were prior to rebranding ourselves. So we have to be very strategic in re-educating our friends and acquaintances. We have to be very strategic and we have to be very strategic in terms of making sure that the best of the best rebranding of ourselves are put out there into, whether it's the social media world or on our resumes, on our websites. So, yeah. Number 9, change your social presence. Not necessarily social media presence, but our social presence. And so what this means is maybe before we were homebodies. And so in order for people to know us now that we've rebranded ourselves, we have to get into the social world a little bit now. Whether that is going to a new restaurant and meeting individuals, going to different stage plays, local stage plays, and meeting individuals, going to the different colleges and meeting different people. And also not just social presence, but social media presence as well. And so when we're changing our social media presence, some of the things that we may have had on our pages prior to, we may have to delete those things, or make a brand new social media page. It's totally up to you, but it's very important that what we put on our social media pages now that we have rebranded ourselves, that those things coincide with what we have rebranded ourselves into. And it is critical that we should be completely authentic in our rebranding, because if you create an image of yourself that is untruthful, then you will have a hard time living up to it. So resist the temptation to embellish the truth and instead be confident in who you are. I thought I had one more. I thought I had 10. I wanted to do 10, but I don't. So I hope this helps someone, more than just one person, but I hope that this helps you all in terms of reinventing your personal brand. And if you have any comments, leave them below, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye. Tori talks, 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 Season 2.